Hundreds of meters beneath the surface, where sunlight fades into darkness, predators have vanished, not by escaping, but by evolving skin so black it absorbs over 99.5% of all light, rendering them nearly invisible, even amid bioluminescent flashes. In these depths, survival depends on hiding from eyes adapted to every wavelength. But why did so many species converge on this radical camouflage? And what hidden arms race drives the invention of ultra-black skin the deeper you go? The secret begins with what you cannot see. In the world between sunlight and darkness, bodies begin to disappear, becoming invisible. Not with pigment, but with physics. Gelatinous animals, jellies, combs, salps float through the twilight zone with bodies built almost entirely from water. Their tissues match the refractive index of the surrounding sea so closely that light barely bends as it passes through. There is no shimmer, no edge, no shadow to betray their presence. Scattering, the process that makes most living tissue visible, is nearly absent here. The difference between the refractive index of seawater and that of these animals is often less than 1/100th, just enough for light to slip by undisturbed. This is the first and simplest form of invisibility. Transparency. There is no pigment to absorb light. No energy is spent on making color. Instead, their bodies are so clear that even the most sensitive eyes struggle to see them. For creatures under 5 centimeters across, this strategy is nearly perfect. But as bodies grow larger, or as internal organs and muscles develop, even the best matched tissues start to scatter a little more light. As the last traces of sunlight vanish with depth, the rules of hiding change. In these deeper layers, transparency fades as a defense, and new tactics begin to emerge, tactics that bend the very nature of darkness to survive. Hatchetfish hover in the dim blue of the twilight zone, their bodies flattened and silvered, but it is the light they create that truly hides them. Along their bellies, rows of tiny organs, photophores, glow with a cold, precise blue. This is Counter-Illumination, a living cloak that matches the faint sunlight filtering down from above, tuned so perfectly that a predator looking up from below sees only the endless water column, not the shadow of a fish. The match is not just in brightness, but in color. The hatchetfish's glow falls within 5 to 10 nanometers of the ambient blue, erasing contrast and making the animal nearly invisible to eyes evolved to spot silhouettes against the light. But as the ocean deepens, light itself becomes a weapon. Dragonfish, with needle jaws and ribbon fins, hunt in darkness using a secret signal. Along their heads, special organs emit beams of deep red light, wavelengths between 705 and 725 nanometers. This red is lost to the sea. Most prey and rivals are blind to it, their eyes tuned to blue and green. Only the dragonfish, with its unique visual pigments, can see its own beam. It sweeps the darkness with an invisible flashlight, searching for the faint outlines of crustaceans and fish that cannot sense the danger. In these depths, light is not just for seeing. It is a tool for vanishing or for hunting unseen. The arms race between predator and prey becomes an evolutionary contest of spectral tuning, where survival depends on who can manipulate the physics of vision best. Here, invisibility is not just a matter of blending in, but of mastering the wavelengths that define what can and cannot be seen. Descending through the water column, sunlight thins and then vanishes, layer by layer. In the upper twilight zone, between 200 meters and 1,000 meters, the world is washed in a dim blue haze, enough for silhouettes to betray a shape, but not enough for color or detail. Here, the last rays of day scatter and fade, their intensity dropping by orders of magnitude with every 100 meters. Even the clearest water absorbs red and yellow first, leaving only blue-green to penetrate the gloom. Below 1,000 meters, the midnight zone begins. No sunlight reaches this realm, and only the faintest glimmer from above hints at any world beyond. By 4,000 meters, in the abyss, the darkness is complete. The pressure climbs to hundreds of atmospheres, and the only light comes from the living, brief flashes, silent glows, signals, and traps. Each zone demands its own solution to the problem of being seen. In the twilight, camouflage and counter-illumination can still fool a watchful eye. But as the irradiance profile drops towards zero, stealth must become absolute. Here, invisibility is not just a tactic, it is survival itself. A pelican eel waits in the abyss, suspended motionless in water thick with pressure but thin with life. Here, every meal is a rare event. Prey may pass by only once in weeks, sometimes months, and the cost of a missed opportunity is measured in survival itself. The eel's body, coated in skin that absorbs more than 99.5% of any light, whether from a distant bioluminescent flash or the lure at its own tail, becomes a void in the darkness. Even as its glowing tail pulses, drawing in curious fish and shrimp, nothing betrays the outline of the hunter. Not a glint, not a shimmer. The eel's mouth, capable of stretching wide enough to engulf animals nearly its own size, remains hidden until the last instant. In this world, energy is precious. Active pursuit wastes more than it wins. The pelican eel's strategy is patience and perfect concealment. Ultra-black camouflage is not just a disguise, it is the difference between eating and starving. When prey finally comes close, the eel strikes with a sudden snap, swallowing whole what it may not see again for weeks. In the deep sea, invisibility is not a luxury. It is the currency of survival, shaping every ambush, every encounter, and every fragile link in the food web. A fragment of pelican eel skin placed under the microscope reveals a hidden lattice, an architecture designed for darkness. Where ordinary fish have pigment granules scattered like pearls in a loose net, ultra-black predators pack their melanosums in a dense continuous layer. These organelles are not round, but elongated, tic-tac shaped, aligned side by side with barely a gap between. Light striking this surface does not bounce back. Instead, photons enter a maze. Each one is steered, scattered, redirected from melanosome to melanosome until almost none escape. Laboratory measurements confirm the result. Less than 0.5% of incident light is reflected, a value rivaling the blackest synthetic materials ever engineered. Even the most powerful camera strobes failed to coax detail from these surfaces. Reflectance spectrophotometry drew a flat line near zero. The secret was not simply more pigment, but a microscopic arrangement, an evolutionary solution that traps light with ruthless efficiency. This microstructure is the foundation of invisibility in the abyss, a living material built to erase itself from the eye and the beginning of a new frontier in understanding how life engineers darkness. Scanning electron micrographs offer a final, decisive view into the skin of these deep-sea predators. Magnified thousands of times, the surface appears as a seamless forest of elongated melanosomes. Dense, oblong capsules packed edge to edge, each one angled to intercept and redirect stray photons. Where ordinary fish skin scatters light in every direction, here the microtexture creates a labyrinth with no exit for incoming rays. Each melanosome acts as a photon trap, steering light sideways and deeper until nothing remains to return. Laboratory reflectance tests confirm what the eye cannot see. Less than 0.5% of visible light escapes these surfaces, a value rivaling the darkest synthetic materials ever engineered. When a beam from a spectrophotometer strikes the skin, the readout is nearly flat. Almost no reflection, no spectral fingerprint, just a void. This is not the result of more pigment, but of a microscopic architecture tuned by evolution for maximum absorption. The proof is empirical. Even under the harsh, direct light of scientific instruments, these samples vanish into blackness. The secret of invisibility in the abyss is written not in color, but in structure, a living surface engineered to erase itself from the world of light. Today, ultra-black skin remains one of nature's deepest enigmas, an adaptation that absorbs 99.5% of all light, still unmatched by human technology. As we send new eyes into the abyss, each discovery reminds us that the ocean's darkest places hold secrets evolution is still perfecting. What will we find next?